Welcome back to my channel. Today, we explore the value of specific coins, the most valuable 5-cent Jefferson nickel coins, value in market. First up, the 1941 Jefferson nickel, specifically the version without a mint mark, and what makes this coin so valuable when found in fine condition. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your coin journey, this video will give you the inside scoop on what makes this nickel worth your attention and potentially some serious money. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938, designed by Felix Schlag. This 5-cent piece features the profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous Monticello home on the reverse. The 1941 issue is particularly interesting because it's one of the last nickels struck before World War II. Nickel composition changed in 1942. Unlike some years, the 1941 Jefferson nickel can be found both with and without a mint mark. The mint mark tells us where the coin was struck. For 1941, nickels were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. The Philadelphia coins don't carry any mint mark at all, making them a unique piece for collectors. Here's a quick tip for beginners. If a Jefferson nickel from 1941 doesn't have a D or S on the reverse, just below Monticello, it's a Philadelphia mint coin. The absence of a mint mark can sometimes confuse new collectors, but it actually signifies one of the most common mint locations of that era. Now, you might be thinking, isn't the Philadelphia 1941 nickel pretty common? And doesn't that mean it's not valuable? Well, yes and no. While millions were minted, the value comes from the coin's condition, and in some cases, rarity of certain die varieties or errors. Coins from this era were heavily circulated during wartime, so finding one in fine condition, or better, can be quite rare. That's because the fine grade indicates that the coin has moderate wear but still retains a good amount of detail, making it desirable to collectors who want a quality coin without paying the premium. For near-mint specimens, let's talk about grading. Fine condition falls in the middle of the grading scale. It's above good and very good, but below very fine and extremely fine. For a 1941 Jefferson nickel, fine means you can still clearly see most of Jefferson's hair detail and the major features of Monticello, even if the coin shows signs of wear and slight smoothing. The American Numismatic Association (ANA) defines fine as coins with moderate wear on high points, but overall clear and readable design. This grade strikes a balance between affordability and collectability. Now for the question on everyone's mind: how much is a 1941 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark worth today? If it's in fine condition as of 2025, the market value of a 1941 Philadelphia Jefferson nickel graded fine F1 to F15 generally ranges from about $200. Prices can fluctuate based on the coin's exact condition, market demand, and whether it has any unique characteristics or errors that might sound modest. But remember, this is just for fine condition coins. If you find one in better grades, like very fine or extremely fine, values jump considerably, sometimes reaching $300 or more. So, there you have it. The 1941 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in fine condition might not be $1 million coin, but it's a great piece of American history and a solid addition to any collection. Plus, it's always exciting to hunt for these coins and maybe find a hidden gem. Next up, the 1966 issue without a mint mark, even in damaged condition. You might be shocked at how much value this seemingly ordinary coin can hold today. First, let's get a quick background. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, featuring the famous portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the back. The 1966 nickels are part of the wartime post-silver era, but the 1965 to 1967 nickels are unique because none of them have mint marks. That's right. Between 1965 and 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from coins to discourage coin hoarding during a time of coin shortages, so every nickel from these years, including 1966, looks almost identical when it comes to mint marks. Okay, So what makes the 1966 Jefferson nickel special? Typically, coins from this era are considered common and not very valuable. But here's where things get interesting. The 1966 nickel was struck in large numbers, but due to the absence of mint marks and changes in production, there are a few rare die varieties and errors collectors look out for even if your coin is damaged. And I mean really worn, scratched, or even bent. It can still be valuable depending on the specific variety or error type it might have. Collectors call these damaged condition coins, and sometimes their rarity outweighs the condition. So, what's the value of a 1966 Jefferson nickel without mint mark in damaged condition? Normally, circulated 1966 nickels without any errors sell for thousands of dollars, basically face value or a tiny premium. You find them in nice condition, but if you find one with a known error or die variety, even if it's in damaged condition, its value can jump significantly. For example, some 1966 nickels have die cracks or doubling that, while rare, can push the coin's value to $300 or even more depending on the severity of the error and collector interest. Now, let's talk about what we mean by damaged condition. This includes coins with scratches, dents, corrosion, discoloration, or even cleaning marks. Usually, these factors lower a coin's value drastically, but interestingly, for some rare varieties, collectors still pay a premium because the error or rarity trumps the damage. However, if the coin is too damaged, like severely corroded or bent beyond recognition, it might only be worth a few dollars. If anything, right now, in 2025, the market for 1966 nickels is stable. Common coins sell for pennies to a few dollars, but error coins in any condition can fetch for $100 or more. Here are some recent auction highlights. If you come across a 1966 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, especially if it looks unusual or damaged, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, do your research, and you might just have a small treasure in your hands. Next up, the 1945 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark. And yes, even in damaged condition, these nickels can still be surprisingly valuable. So stick around as we explore why this coin is so special and what it's worth today. First, let's talk a little history. The 1945 Jefferson nickel is part of the famous wartime nickel series, minted during World War II because nickel was a critical metal for the war effort. These nickels were made with a special composition of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. This silver content is a big reason why these coins are so collectible today. Now, the 1945 nickels were produced at 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can identify the mint by the letter on the coin, a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the Philadelphia coins from that year don't have a mint mark at all. That's what collectors call the no mint mark or Philadelphia issue. Among these, the 1945 nickel without a mint mark is one of the most common. But here's where it gets interesting. Even if your coin is damaged or heavily worn, it could still have value above its face value, and silver content damage to coins can include scratches, discoloration, corrosion, or being bent. While this generally lowers a coin's grade and collector value, for silver wartime nickels, the intrinsic silver content still guarantees some worth. Let's talk numbers. As of today, silver prices fluctuate, but a 1945 wartime nickel contains about 0.056 ounces of silver. With silver hovering around $250 per ounce, the melt value alone is roughly $140 now. What if your coin is damaged? Well, even in damaged condition, say heavily worn or scratched, the coin's silver melt value remains, which is already over $1. But here's the kicker: many collectors and silver buyers prefer wartime nickels, and some damaged examples can sell for $500 or more, depending on how severe the damage is and the demand in the market. Of course, if you have a 1945 nickel without mint mark that's in excellent condition, the value skyrockets. But today, we're focusing on damaged coins, so don't get discouraged if yours isn't perfect. Before selling your wartime nickels, check their condition carefully. But remember that silver content guarantees a baseline value. Even damaged, these coins beat their face value and could earn you some extra cash if you find a 1945 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in your pocket change. Even if it's damaged or worn, don't overlook it. It's silver content and collector interest make it worth at least a couple of bucks in today's market. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and stay tuned to Valuable Coins for more tips on rare and valuable coins. Next up, the 1939 5-cent piece without a mint mark, especially in extremely fine condition. Stick around because this little nickel could be worth way more than you think. First, a quick refresher. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It features the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the front, and his iconic Monticello home, the back. But what makes the 1939 nickel without a mint mark special? Well, the mint mark tells you where the coin was made. In 1939, nickels were produced at two mints, Philadelphia, which doesn't use a mint mark, and Denver, which uses a D. The no mint mark version means it was minted in Philadelphia. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced about 56 million Jefferson nickels, a pretty large number. But here's the catch. Coins from that year, especially in extremely fine condition, are not as common as you might expect. Now, let's talk condition. The extremely fine grade, abbreviated EF or XF, means the coin has light wear on the highest points, but all the details remain sharp and clear. This grade is important because coins in this condition are much rarer than those that are heavily circulated. When you find a 1949 nickel in EF condition, you're looking at a coin that survived decades of handling without losing much of its original detail. That's valuable to collectors. So, how much is a 1939 Philadelphia Jefferson nickel worth today? Extremely fine condition. Well, prices fluctuate based on the market and demand. But generally speaking, you can expect anywhere from $350 per coin. In fact, some coins graded higher than extremely fine, like about uncirculated or mint state MS, can fetch significantly more, sometimes over $300 if the coin has exceptional eye appeal and luster for everyday collectors. Finding a 1939 nickel in extremely fine condition can be a great way to start or add to a Jefferson nickel collection. And if you stumble on one without a mint mark, you could be holding a nice little treasure. So, whether you're a casual collector or a serious numismatist, keep your eyes peeled for these valuable 1939 Jefferson nickels without a mint mark in extremely fine condition. They're affordable, historically rich, and hold great value for collectors. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next treasure hunt. Got a rare coin you want me to check out? Drop a comment or send a photo. I'd love to help.